Hello and welcome to the Pixel Scandal Nerdcast, episode 17. I'm Kurt, and I'm joined by End of Line, Gidget, and Orestez. How y'all doing tonight?
Hello.
Good. Good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
How are we streaming?
Pretty good. Are we live?
Oh,
Is that what we're
that's
doing?
cool.
Are we doing anything now?
Yeah, we're doing the thing.
Yeah.
Doing things.
Yeah.
Doing things and stuff.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I just said good.
I wasn't listening, obviously.
I am little tired.
You were
Let's
tired?
tired.
What did you
I
do
am
today?
little tired. Just moving. We're moving all this stuff. This will be the last time I stream from this area.
From this location?
This location. This is the last time you will see that wall behind me. Purple one right there.
You know, I think this
Next
is one of the
time.
few times that we can't see two-tone walls with you.
Yeah.
It's all
There we go.
one-toned. Oh, there we go. Line of
Yep.
purple.
Yeah,
Yep.
got it.
Gotta get the purple wall in
It
there.
was twisted to the side. Next time, there will be a mini fridge behind me.
The purple
Cool.
part is very important.
Yes, purple's very
Yeah.
important.
It's-
Cool. Well, end of line. Do we have any announcements for
Yes.
things coming up?
Yep. We are getting to September 8th. It's coming. Dungeon World. Bring your own hat day. Officially.
Yep.
Make sure you follow the stream so you'll get the alert for the event down there on the events tab. But yeah, September 8th. Check it out.
Woo.
Yeah.
He's
Cool.
going to kill children.
You know, it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. It's a possibility. There
We're also
may be
going
dead
to be
children.
playing Dungeon World.
That is a thing we will also be doing. Me killing children and Dungeon World.
Mhm.
Not mutually exclusive. Well, cool. Well, let's go into what we're excited about. Obviously, Kurt and I are super excited about StrategiCon next weekend.
Yeah, baby.
We leave on Thursday.
Jelly.
Yes.
You should go.
Uh,
I mean, it's a little late.
so strategic. You don't want to climb into my suitcase?
Nope.
No? All right.
Yeah.
It has been too long, though. I think I'm going to go next year.
You should definitely
You
go.
should
Well, we're not.
definitely
I don't know if we're gonna make it in. Well, we might
We're
make it in
going to-
September next year.
We're going to
We'll see.
PAX next year, aren't we?
I don't need you to go for me to go.
He's a
Y'all can go with
strong.
me to Gateway.
He's a strong, independent black woman. He don't need no man.
I mean, we could all just go to Gateway next year in September.
Yeah,
Or
there we go.
PAX.
That's a thing.
Well,
too.
we're
Well, I
gonna
think
go to
we're
PAX
doing that
East
anyway.
if we can
Well,
get
we're doing,
tickets.
yeah, we're doing PAX anyway.
Yeah.
And then in October, Big Bad Con.
Yeah.
Kurt's gonna go do that with Dave Kazay.
Yeah. That's gonna be a high energy trip.
You're taking the train. Gonna get drunk on a train.
I think. Yeah, I'm gonna take the train up to. And the
Walnut.
train does not stop in the town that I'm going to. So like the nearest station is like 20 minutes
Gotta take a bus.
from Walnut Creek, and so Gidget's making fun of me saying I'm gonna get drunk on the train, and I was like, I can't drink on that train. I'm gonna end up there like, hello, does anyone know where Walnut Creek is?
Where's my bus?
How far is that?
Sir,
on the
get
train-
me an Uber.
train ride?
It's like a 3-hour tour.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like a 3-hour tour.
All right, that's a tolerable amount of time to be on a train.
I think it's about the same as driving it, but then I don't have to drive it. Or
Yeah.
find a place to park my car when I'm there.
Yeah.
Because we're staying
Yeah.
at the hotel.
Well, no,
so.
because we went on the train to Seattle, the PAX a few years ago, and that was a long train ride.
Yes.
That was definitely I'm glad I did it once type
Mhm.
of thing.
I'm jelly. I love train rides. I wish I had gone to PAX with you guys when you went on the train.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
That was pretty early on in our nerd career, though. I don't think we really understood.
Just how fun PAX could possibly be.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of things I'm excited about. So the book, It's All in Your Head by Sean Koss, which is that Kickstarter I talked about, where he drew kind of these dark creatures that look like different mental illnesses, is shipping soon, and I should have it in hand very, very soon, and I will totally post pictures onto our social medias of it when it comes in, because I'm very excited about that. And by me, I mean Kurt. mostly because I don't have the login information. And a book I'm very excited about is called An Easy Death. It's by Charlene Harris, who is the author of the Sookie Stackhouse series. And that is coming out October 2nd. And I don't always like the works that she does, but I have read a few passages from this upcoming book, and it's actually looks like it's going to be pretty solid. It's kind of a Western themed book with some supernatural stuff mixed into it. So, and it's got a female protagonist, which is always super awesome. So, it's An Easy Death by Charlene Harris. You can pre-order it on Amazon. I already did. It'll be here October 2nd. I'm very excited.
That's awesome.
And a book I just finished this week. It's called The Children of Time, which is like an Audible exclusive book. It's by Adrian Tchaikovsky. There, haha, I said it. And it is a very weird sci-fi book, and I think everyone should go listen to it because it was weird, but very satisfying and enjoyable when it was all over. Awesome. It's about the destruction of the human race and us heading out to the stars and creating like terraforming planets and science experiments that create sentient spiders. That's really giving nothing away.
Trigger warning for you arachnophobes.
Yeah, because like chapter 2 is and the spiders.
Yeah.
But it's a really neat book. It kind of jumps around in time, like over 2,000 years, which is kind of neat. So yeah, if you're looking for a good audiobook to listen to, it's Children of Time on Audible.
Yeah. And the reason that I have not paid attention to any popular media in the past like week and a half is because I've been trying to fiendishly finish Forest Mother before Gateway so I can run it. And I printed it.
It's backwards.
It's a thing. There's pages.
And like...
And a cute little fox art that I found. I actually found... I'm going to pull this up. I know this is like the shittiest way to put this on a stream. So there is...
Good job, Kurt.
The quality of this stream is above par. So I found this woman. She has an Etsy shop and she does like animal watercolor portraits, and that little fox is like her mascot. So I don't know if I'm hoping she'll sell it to me for this because it's so perfect. But I need her to make me all of the cutest little animals.
So Kurt,
go in my game.
What is Forest Mother? Because I don't think you've really talked about it on here before.
Maybe not. So Forest Mother is a story game where you play forest spirits who raise guardians to defend the forest from dangers which arise.
Yeah.
And you do this by imparting the aspects and beliefs that you grew up with and make you who you are into them like you would children. And, hopefully you can prepare them for the dangerous life in the forest before they're too old and run off without you. It's a game about an empty nest, but hopefully it's fun.
You keep saying that it's a game about empty nest, and I really feel like the empty nest is the thing that happens at the end of the game. The game is really about how hard it is to prepare your little babies to go off into the world.
Yeah. But I made a lot of changes because the earlier versions of the game were basically single player games that were happening simultaneously.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of interacting with the other players at all. Everything happened on your turn. You did all the stuff then. Now it's very much there's about half of the actions happen on your turn, and then there's a phase where everyone interacts with each other based on what location they're at in the game. And so I'm hoping it brings a little more like RP to it, because now there's other players at the same location doing actions at the same time. So just by that, it's going to fix a lot of those problems.
And you guys played Forest Mother when we were doing the playtest here, right?
Mm-hmm. I did not.
Oh, that's right.
I know Gordon and Mike did, though.
Yeah.
The couple of changes that Kurt has made recently, I think has really improved, like he was saying, like it feeling more like a cohesive game, like we're all doing things together instead of like stand alone. Everybody kind of takes their turn. It feels like, oh, we all live in this forest together instead of kind of us all running off in our own corners of the forest, which I think is kind of neat.
Yeah, and something that I've heard about, I forget who said it, but basically it comes down to, it is unsatisfying to create a problem and then have to be the same person that solves said problem in storytelling or in games. And so something I've added is I broke up basically the job of creating the dangers to the forest. So someone will create the first part of the danger, someone else will create the stakes for the danger. I randomized how difficult it is to overcome the danger. So it's not all like you're not making it and then going out and defeating it. So I'm hoping that makes a little more satisfying end there when you do overcome those dangers.
Yeah.
But yeah,
what I'd love to
Motherhood
do
in a Dangerous Wood.
is get Kurt to get us to play it like on stream.
Yeah.
So that people can see what the game looks like, because it's super fun.
I need to get some playtests up and going soon, because I'm gonna bring it with me to Strategicon. So I want to see if there's any hitches that I really need to handle before I print materials and show up at Games on Demand. But yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Cool. So what has everyone been playing recently?
World of Warcraft,
Yep.
Path of Exile.
Shit ton of WoW.
Today I was clocking some time in this morning on hardcore Path of Exile to just kind of get a feel for the game again. Because it's been a couple of months. But World of Warcraft, pretty much where I can be for now. Just kind of waiting for Mythic Plus to unlock now, doing Mythics every week and getting that Azeroth rep.
Nice.
Right.
I need to do more mythics.
Yes, you do. We're going to be doing some tonight.
I have yet to do a Mythic.
Oh, you're moving tonight, though. You can't.
Yeah.
My gear is finally up to heroic level. Yeah.
If your gear is up to heroic level, you're ready for Mythic.
Oh.
Yeah. We did our first heroic today. I tanked it and it went fine.
Yeah,
so.
it was.
You guys should consider, if you guys have some time tonight, hopping on and we can squeeze you guys in some Mythic and get you some 40 gear.
Let's do it.
Totes.
Give me that good gear.
I was telling Areztez before we jumped on the stream that I've gotten 2 mounts so far from the new expansion. I got I got the Dune Strider, which is a hyena, and then I think it was yesterday or the day before I fished up the Stingray.
Oh yeah, the Stingray.
The water Stingray mount, which is super cool. The only thing though, between the Stingray and the turtle mount, that's really hard to fish up. The turtle mount doesn't dismount you if you like jump out of the water.
Yeah.
But the Stingray does. You have to be underwater for the Stingray.
Yeah.
So I think I like my turtle.
I like my turtle better too.
I like my turtle. I'm gonna stick with my turtle. It was still really cool though to get it, because I mean,
the other mount though, I really looking forward to getting, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little hyena thing looks
amazing.
I want
adorable.
the fox. I don't know how or where to get the fox.
I thought that was Alliance side. Is it? Can the Horde get that one too?
The fox, you get the fox from doing the Nightfall scenario where you take your little crackheads through the sewers and
really?
treasure chests.
In
yeah,
Legion?
one of the items you can get if you start pulling out chests from that. One of the items is a quest thing that'll take you on the quest to get the little fox mount.
Oh, I hadn't seen anyone on a fox until this expansion. I was like, where do I get a fox? This is not cool that I don't have a fox. So, okay, now I know I gotta go back and do that when I have time.
Yeah, my buddy got one of those, and everybody hates him, and every time he rides it, they spit on him. Super jelly.
Okay.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. Since last week, I've gone over and done some of the Alliance side, which now that I've kind of done all the quests on the Horde side and I'm starting the Alliance side, I kind of like the questing on the Alliance side better.
Yeah, I think most people are saying that.
Their story is better. Their, like, the zone feels more, I don't know. All I've done is the, like, witch area, though, but on the Alliance side, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't done any Alliance questing yet, but I don't know, the Alliance side looks boring to me, but then again, maybe the quests are really good.
It's pretty solid.
Okay.
To be
the
honest.
witch stuff is neat.
Yeah.
Like, I like the witch area and the, like, gothic Dustvar stuff. So that's kind of cool. And the witch dungeon is really awesome.
Oh yeah, the witch dungeon's super cool.
It is funny though, as a horde
mansion.
going into an alliance dungeon and having all these humans standing there like, "Thank you, heroes, you've saved us," and it's like, "Bitch, you were spitting on me like 5 minutes ago."
That is true. So, Kurt, I see here that you have played some RPGs recently.
Yeah, I did play some RPGs.
You want to not bore us, but give us a rundown?
Yeah, sure. Just
what your
hit me with the buzzer, kick me off stage when I get boring.
Yeah,
I played Stars Without
hook.
Number. It's a monthly campaign. I play online. I'm having a great time with that. We still have not had a combat. I think the GM keeps trying to give us combats, and we keep just saying no, we don't want them. Because every time there's a chance to fight something or talk to it, we just talk to it. Yeah. To the point where everyone is starting to max their talk and leadership skills. Because we're just like, nah, this is not gonna. We're not gonna.
Because you're gonna talk your way out of it anyway. So
we're just gonna talk to everybody. So
yeah.
like all these people with like shooting expertise and stuff, they're like, I mean, I think there's 3 to 4 players depending on who's available that week. I think this was our 4th game, and those are basically wasted points. But I mean, in a game that's that deadly, where you start with like 3 hit points, you're not gonna pick fights. Like,
yeah,
it's just not gonna happen. So
absolutely.
But it has been funny because my character is basically a union rep, and so everywhere he goes, he's like trying to establish unions and create revolutions to give the people back the means of production, and it's like a space Marxist. It's been really fun, yeah, that's I really love the fact that there has never been a time when combat is like required. So that's kudos to the GM for rolling with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then today, Gauntlet did a Gauntlet Games Now, which is they did their own games on demand. So I think there was probably like 15 players, and we all jumped in and did priority groups and got to choose games. Mark Diaz Truman ran Cartel, which I did not get into, unfortunately. But I did get into Goblin Town with Rick Rogers. It's very OSR feel. It's very rules light game. I think the whole game fits on 7 or 8 pages. But you're goblins and you're defending your little village from. In our case, we were defending it from a human paladin. Because the raiders had found a valuable treasure, and then later we find out it's a human baby.
Oh.
And we're like trying to decide how to cook it.
And you're trying to cook a human baby.
Well, the chief wanted to cook it, and so they were. Yeah, it was fun. We had a good time being stupid goblins and goofing around. I think the game took like 2 hours with 6 players.
Wow.
So. If you played with like a group of 4 players, because it does require a GM. If you had like 4 players, I could see banging it out in an hour and a half, easy. It's got a threat clock where each time you have successes on actions, it counts up your successes, and if you get more successes before you get more failures, then you win, and if you fail, then whatever the threat was destroys the town, and any survivors have to move on. So. It was really fun. Yeah, we lost. But we did kill Bob, the human paladin.
I was going to say, is that the baby?
Yeah, we killed the Bob. I don't know what happened to the baby. It was unclear. But the whole village was on fire, so I doubt the baby made it.
Aww.
I did get to play, my character was the kaboomist. So I had little alchemical... I had bombs. I was the pyro. So that was fun. I channeled my inner Gidget. And I blew myself up at the end as my epilogue. So, but yeah, that was really fun, and I'll definitely do more Gauntlet games now if they do more of those, because the games were fun and it was like really quick to get in and out and have a fun game. So that was good times.
Well, I mean, Bagger of Grenades.
Oh, and props to Rick Rogers for keeping the game moving with all of us weirdo like 6 players in that game.
And I mean, Bagger of Grenades is the most overpowered weapon in any game. It's the perfect weapon. So.
It's not overpowered.
I mean, you don't have to throw it. You just drop it. So there's no check.
Yeah.
And then you just explode things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you throw it, it's going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the best thing about a grenade. It's got to go somewhere.
It's gonna
Yeah.
blow something up.
It specifically says on the talent thing that when you use your grenades, if you fail, you do have you have a 1 damage, a 2 damage, and a 3 damage grenade, and it says if you fail, that's how much damage you do to yourself instead of the enemy. So you and you only have 3 hit points, so you're risking your life if you use the 3 damage one. It's pretty funny, and there's no healing because you're goblins, so you don't heal. But yeah, it was good times. And it's a free game. You can find it if you just look up Goblin Town, one word, or I'll put a link to it in the doobly-doo. Actually, I'll find it and I'll throw it in the chat too. But yeah, that's me. That's it.
Okay. So our spotlight topic for tonight is how do you go about learning a new gaming system? So I feel like everybody has their own way of doing it, and no way is necessarily better or worse than another, but it's kind of how it works best for each person. I mean, end of line, what is your strategy for learning a new system?
Option 1 is don't.
I mean...
Learn just enough to have a fundamental kind of knowledge of the game. Yeah. And then whenever something complicated happens, just say, hey, what do I roll for that?
I feel like you and I have a pretty similar system, which is wait for Kurt and Night Sun to learn the system, and then have them teach us just enough of it to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned full systems, but that's my general, that's how I go about learning a system.
At some point, when you're 2 to 3 GMs, when 2 of them are system whores,
yeah,
and jump systems every couple of months, so you have to learn something. At some point, you just say, well, fuck it. I'm just going to wing this and see how it goes.
I mean, I play a lot of games online where I basically look at the GM and just say, all right, this is what I want to do. Can you tell me what button to press or which dice to roll, please? I think that's a valid way to start learning a game. And it's kind of, if you have access to conventions or to communities that run a lot of games, it's a great way to get a feel for a system, to just have someone run it for you.
Definitely.
Now that's
the
not
odds are you're always going to get at a table where there's someone who's never seen that system before, so they're going to have to start from scratch anyway, so you can just learn.
Yeah. And most games will specify. I honestly, I don't even play in games that are not friendly to new players, even if I'm familiar with the system at cons, because usually the ones that say requires knowledge of the system are going to be a type of game I don't want to play anyways.
Right. There's a level of rules there that even if you know the system, you probably don't know that obscure rule that they would expect you to know.
Or I'm probably not going to enjoy the game if they're really focused on the rules and not the story. So
right.
That's where my head's at usually.
Yeah.
But if you have access to that, then yeah, make someone run the game for you. That's a great way to learn the game. But odds are you don't. So I don't know. Do you guys want me to just go through my method?
I mean, I feel like there's very few systems that I've sat down and read the book cover to cover before I actually got to play the system. I think most systems I've played them and had a GM kind of help me with the rules as I was playing it, and then if I liked what I saw from the play of the game, I would go back and then, okay, now I'll read more rules and figure out what it is about the game that I liked.
I mean, if you're not going to play the game very often, then there's no reason to dig deep, right?
Right.
But if you do want to learn a new game from scratch, and you don't have access to a con, I typically start by just cover to cover. I just read the book. Mm-hmm. I know some people will start with a specific part of the game, but I'll usually just read the book. And then while I'm reading the book, I'll look up actual plays of the game and just watch people play it, so that I can have a reference point when I see things in the book. So I can go, oh, that's what they did, or that's how that works. But that's where I start. And then once I've read the book through, I will immediately start trying to teach the game, unfortunately for Gidget, because having to explain it to someone makes me question the parts that I may have took for granted, right? Because
or me asking questions that I need clarified makes you have to go a little deeper into the rules to figure out how to answer my question.
Right.
And that helps you learn the system more because you had to answer my questions.
Right. So, like, teaching a game is definitely a huge part of learning it for me. Because I have to internalize it enough that I can then explain it to someone else.
Okay, that's funny, because that's also part of my process of learning a game, is I read it, don't understand, like, a bunch of stuff, and then I come to you and go, I don't get this, and then I have you teach me the thing I was trying to learn. So it's, my process is read it, don't understand it, have you read it, and then teach it back to me. Yeah. I think that's the majority of my process.
Now, you always have to start with the grapple rules, because any game that does not have very clearly defined grapple rules, you just cannot take seriously.
Yeah. If accurate timekeeping records are not kept, you cannot have a meaningful game.
I can honestly say there are only two systems that I've read the entire book cover to cover. The first was Savage Worlds, which I played in a game at my very first Strategicon, ran by Bill Roper and Kimmy. I don't know her last name.
I don't think she puts her last name on the internet.
Okay, cool. From the Happy Jacks podcast. And I played in their Savage Worlds game. Loved the system. Got the book. Read it cover to cover. Ran it. That was the very first system I learned.
To be fair, Savage World book is only like 12 pages.
The original
and it's
book,
a lot of artwork.
That's true. But the original book, not the deluxe book, but the original book, I think was like 50 pages. But still,
I think that's a positive for the system, not a negative.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah.
And the other system that I read cover to cover was Stars Without Number. That was just recently to run the game that I ran at our Western Con thing that we did back in May. And my process was I read it and was like, this is stupid, and like threw it down, and then Kurt was like, okay, what don't you get? And then taught me the pieces that I was frustrated with.
Yeah, I remember going through that book, and like there would be 2 paragraphs that basically just meant, oh man, I can't remember what it was specifically, but it was like 2 paragraphs to say, roll a d8 for initiative.
Yeah, like it was
like
that.
Like
it was a very wordy book. Like it was kind of written like a Stephen King novel. Like it had way more words and paragraphs to explain something very short, and so I kept getting frustrated that there was too much to read, and I wasn't getting it. And that's when I kind of threw it at Kurt and was like, "You must read this and teach it to me."
I mean, yeah, there were a lot of edge cases in the in the text. So, I think Kevin Crawford wrote Stars Without Number. He would explain the same thing 3 or 4 times throughout the paragraph in different ways.
Yeah.
Probably in the hopes, like, I bet it was, do this in this case, and then someone came back from playtesting and was like, well, what about in this case? And so then he had to rewrite it to include all these edge cases that he hit,
Right.
But it was, I don't know. I didn't struggle with Stars too much, but one thing that Stars Without Number does that, and a lot of I think OSR games do, it doesn't have one core mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Like D&D is roll a d20, add a number. Like you're never gonna do anything but that unless it's damage, right? In Stars Without Number, like it's 2d6 plus stat plus skill for action or skills, and then it's d20 plus attack bonus for melee and like there's all these,
and then it's d8 for initiative, and it's a bunch
of little systems.
Yeah, it's a bunch of little different things that all your different dice do, and there was no uniformity to it. Mm-hmm. And it kept frustrating me trying to learn it.
Yeah, it doesn't really have a core mechanic.
Yeah.
So that that can be kind of confusing, especially if you're not used to that sort of thing. I've toyed with the idea of putting together let's just write a bunch of mini games for all the different things you might want to do in an RPG and just make it an omnibus. It's like, here's my minis. Have fun. Here's my mini games.
What I think is funny about learning a system is for someone like me who the role-playing part of RPGs, the actual character interaction and all that is so important to me. But I tend to look at the combat system first before I make a character or before I figure out what the social mechanics are. Mm-hmm. I figure out what the combat system is, probably because if I'm going to be running the system, because that's really the only time I learn to play a game. If somebody else is going to run it, I don't feel like I need to read the book, because Kurt or Night Sun are going to tell me what I'm supposed to roll when they GM. But if I'm going to be running a game, I want to know the combat rules really well so that I don't have to think about them while I'm trying to do the role-playing part of it with everybody, so that I can enjoy the role-playing, mm-hmm. and then the combat comes in more naturally instead of having to be like, oh crap, what are those combat rules that I don't have solidly memorized?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, what about you, Orestes, when you're learning a new game? Like, what do you tend to focus on?
I usually always just start with like character creation chapter. Generally the first thing I'll do whenever we get a new game is kind of read through each of the classes, if assuming it's a game that has classes, mm-hmm. and just kind of read through like all the little descriptive blurbs about the classes and what they do, because for me that is usually enough to teach me like everything about the system, like, you know, the theme and what the style is and what we're going to be doing, and then, you know, what's possible, like what different characters are capable of doing. And that's mm-hmm. usually where I start, like with characters, because if I'm going to be playing a game, I don't really care so much about the rule set or what, you know, what the the mechanics behind it are. I just want a character that does interesting things and is fun to play. So I'll always just start with character creation and see like, oh, this, you know, this class looks cool. I want to be this guy. What are we going to be doing? Who cares? I'm going to be doing something cool. And it's my job to figure out how to make whatever this character does into something cool in the story, or something that's fun to do. That's cool. So I always just start with character creation. And then after that, look at combat, because we always do combat and everything. So I'll figure out, you know, what I want to play, what the character is capable of doing, and then what part of that character do I want to optimize, because I have to have a focus, or else I'm just going to be, you know, generalized and not necessarily very good at anything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, yeah.
So when you're learning, when you're trying to figure out what character you're going to play and you're learning those rules, do you also like figure out, because you tend to play characters that also exploit the skills and things that the other characters at the table do, right? Like you try to optimize your character to be the helper to everyone. So when you're learning those rules, do you take the time to like find out what everybody else is playing, so when you build yours, it's optimized to the group?
Yeah, like if I'm comfortable with the character, like for example, like a warlord in 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons, there's, you know, a couple different ways that I'll build one depending on the party makeup.
Right.
Yeah. So you go through it and it's like, oh, this guy's, you know, support. I'll try to find ways to be supporty of at least a couple of different so that way I'll have an idea of which way I'm going to be leaning. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm going to play a character that's just like straight up melee support, I might not necessarily pick that character at first and just like go full gung-ho, like I'm definitely going to play this. I'll kind of remember it and be like, okay, cool. So if the party is mostly melee, then I'll play this guy. And then if the party is mostly range, I'll play this other. Play what is more fun. But yeah, if I notice that the character that's interesting to me is capable of helping out my teammates, then I'll go in and see like, what other classes are. That's why I like our group, because we always kind of talk about it ahead of time. Like, oh yeah, I'm interested in playing this. So then I'll go
Right.
look and see, what does this guy do? Oh yeah, this one would be useful to, this one would be good if I play this character. I could buff this dude up real good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll kind of look at stuff like that. But then with some classes, like when we play D&D 3.5, playing my stupid broken buff wizard, it doesn't really matter what you do. You're going to be a god by the time I'm done with you, anyways.
I can't do it. I can't play 3.5. I can't. I understand that the core mechanic of 3.5 is still just D&D, but I cannot hold all of the options in my head, and so it takes me 3.5 days to make a character because I have to make sure that I've looked at every option. Because what if there's a better way? Because I've shown up. The first time I made a 3.5 character, I showed up and I did I don't know, a couple D4 of damage or something like that, and I was doing my thing, and then I think Night Sun or you walked around behind me and were like, 1,000,000 damage, and I was like, okay,
that would have been.
I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah, more likely that was Night Sun's artifact. That guy he made a D&D character that focused on the bribe mechanic from Final Fantasy 3, where you just throw your money. You just throw money at the problem until it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what that was. That was where you pull out a wand of fireballs, snap it, and deal 100d6 damage to, everything in a 30-foot burst around you. It's like, okay, that's fun. That was a good encounter. Good job, DM.
Yeah.
You tried.
I think what I find interesting about that approach to learning a system is, and I mean, definitely it has to do with the kind of characters you play, but in looking up the information and how to build a character that would be fun for you to play and most effective, you also kind of take the time to figure out how other classes work and how they would be effective. So you end up learning actually quite a lot of the system just in trying to figure out what character you're going to play, because you also look at what's the party makeup going to be? So you research a wider range of characters to optimize your character. And so you end up learning quite a bit of the rules, I mean, obviously after you learn the grappling rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely learn the grappling rules.
Yeah.
So, end of line. I know we made the joke that you don't learn any systems, but I know that's not true because
it's not a joke.
Because you ran Dread at a
Dread.
con, so you at least learned that game.
It's not really a system, though.
It is. I
it
mean,
has
it's a system for adjudicating the rules.
It's a gimmick based around a story game.
Yeah.
I don't
it's
think
the same guy that wrote 10 Candles.
Yeah, which is still, I think, the best game.
Did he?
Yeah, Dread and 10 Candles are the same dude.
I didn't know that.
Stephen Dewey? Dowry?
Makes a lot of sense.
I'm so glad he didn't stop with Dread, because 10 Candles was so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a new game coming out. It's about, oh shit, what is it called? I forgot it. You play different tribes in a forest, and you go to the forest, the tree of whatever once a year, and you tell the stories of your people. And so you draw cards, and it prompts you on what has changed with your people. It's another little story game. But
I mean, it makes sense that End of Line that you would like 10 Candles now, knowing that he also wrote Dread.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. I like story-driven, pick-a-path kind of games where people all have input and the decisions immediately have consequences, and they're good for one-shots.
Yeah.
I like long campaigns. I've always been. I think I liked them a lot more when I was younger than I do now. I'm actually a big fan of one-shots now. I think as I'm getting older, I kind of enjoy them a little bit more. Provided you're able to come to terms with the character you're playing, and that's a real challenge.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of the game we just recently played of yours, the Nuclear High. Right? It didn't take long for us to get really comfortable in those character skins. You can't always do that with every game, but for for like a one shot like that, I think pretty much a good 20 minutes into that game, we're all like, okay, we know who our characters are.
Yeah.
We know how they would behave in a situation. I think as long as you can get over that hump, one shots can be so much fun because you get to try on a new persona each time, which I think is a nice thing to change up.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why I spend so much energy when I do one shots on creating the pre-gens, because I definitely want I want the players to instantly know who that character is, and like them to have a some sort of gimmick or something that's easily identifiable that they can latch onto. Because I've struggled. I've done that where you sit down at a table, and the GM is like, all right, here's pick an envelope. It's got a glyph on it, and you don't know what it means, and you grab it, and you're like, oh shit, I'm the captain. Like I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna tell you people what to do. Like it's not gonna happen.
And let's be honest, some people aren't comfortable being that role.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you have to be, let's be honest, especially at a table of people you don't know, you've got to have a kind of extroverted personality to be able to execute the face of a party and be that person that's always doing the diplomacy and whatnot. Yeah. Sometimes you just want to be that person in the back that's just throwing magic missiles and killing shit or just healing people. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta let people. I don't like that. I always think everyone should always have a choice of what they're gonna play.
Yeah,
they're face-up characters.
But yeah, it's that is a challenge with one shots, is getting into character.
But
and that's a challenge for the GM too.
I do agree with you though. Like there's something about long campaigns where you settle into a character, and there's something really satisfying about like developing who that character is and watching that character grow and change. But then there's also something fun about picking up a random character and just playing it for 4 hours and then putting it down and never playing it again. But you got to play this interesting character that maybe you wouldn't normally have played in a longer campaign.
It's a double-edged sword. So the way I looked at it, if you have the long campaign and over a scope of time, your characters develop, you get to this point where everyone kind of knows each other's characters and how they behave, and you can riff off of that. But on the downside, there's not as much surprise anymore. Right? True. Because you kind of already understand like what this person's going to do and how they behave. And you don't in a one shot, you don't have that issue. It's always kind of a, oh, okay. She's going to do that. Wow. Yeah. She's a bitch. You know?
Yeah.
But, you don't long. It's like, oh, yeah, Katie's going to murder a child. It's like, yeah, I know that.
Well, it's like what Dave Kazay was saying when he was on the podcast 2 weeks ago about
your Goth as Fuck?
When we were playing Goth as Fuck, and that was a game that not the typical excuse me, kind of game we play, not the typical kind of character I play. I don't usually play like the, I don't know, super, and I do not want to hear anything from the peanut gallery, super bitchy in your face, mean,
you don't play those
snide
characters.
Girl. No. But it was kind of fun to, in a one shot, to get to play that kind of character that did nothing but talk shit about Kurt. And
you tend to play the morally centered person, and then that always shifts a little bit as campaigns go on.
Yeah.
Like the lines get blurred as we get into some shit with your characters, which I love. I love that because your character shifts with the momentum of the game. Like when the shit happens, your character changes. Like it affects them. I think that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I like about longer campaigns is that my character grows and changes, right? And so a character who originally started as a
What's
pacifist,
in the box is, I think, a very specific example of that.
Right, like that's the character that started as a pacifist, and now she's seen some shit, and she's kind of not. She keeps like verbally saying out loud that she's still a pacifist while she's running around killing everybody.
Well, that's what I love about her. You can tell she's like internally conflicted. Like she really wants to still be that person that showed up on that island. Right. But she's not. Yeah. Not at all.
And that's something I really, like you said, like that's the thing I like about a long campaign. But then at the same time, you do lose that like surprise of like, we know how everybody's going to react to most situations unless something big goes down and we have to make like huge life-altering decisions kind of thing.
Right.
But anyways, kind of going.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little ways away from learning games, but I think think definitely if you're trying to learn a new game and you cannot learn it from reading the book cover to cover, like that is not going to work for you, then check out actual plays. Look for APs.
Yeah,
watch people play games.
The best way.
Mike Merles? Yes, of WotC. He wrote D&D, 5th edition. He said of streaming for RPG games, RPGs are like baseball or basketball. If you try to explain the rules to someone, it would not sound like an interesting experience. But playing the game or watching someone play the game is completely different than just saying, well, okay, so you one team has the ball, and they have to get the ball to the other side of the court, and then they have to put it in a hoop. And the other team doesn't want them to do that. And so you have like 5 guys, and some guys are towards the front, and some guys are towards the back, and then some guys can cross the lines. Like, that's not interesting. But you watch 5 minutes of a basketball game, and you know if you like basketball or not.
Right.
I don't.
Well, yeah, but it's something that you can understand from seeing the game. And so, like, watching the play of a game and seeing how it actually works has done a lot for the hobby,
and
I think.
And I think it's also valid to say that is also not, how everybody learns differently, and we talk about people who need to read the book to learn, or they need to watch actual plays to learn, or they have to do it themselves hands-on to learn. Find the way that works best for you, because for Kurt, watching actual plays, or for the other two, watching actual plays helps you guys learn the system. I think it is literally the most boring thing on the planet. There are very few actual plays that I can watch and actually enjoy watching it. That is just not a type of entertainment. I love to play role-playing games, and we stream them here on our channel, so obviously I'm cool with putting them out there for other people to enjoy, but it's just not, it's not my form of entertainment. Yeah. So if you watch an actual play and you're like, oh god, that's okay, because I'm that way too.
Yeah. And some actual plays are better and worse for, because there's definitely a spectrum of actual plays from the game, like, as you would see, like, just putting a camera in a room with some nerds and watching them play a game, versus the, like, radio play style where they sort of cut a lot of the rules, or they try to keep that stuff off camera and just stay in the story as much as possible. Like, both of those are interesting for their own reasons, and I actually really enjoy the radio plays, and I really enjoy the bunch of nerds in a room playing a game. But if you want to learn a game, you want those nerds at the table, because the other group's not going to talk about the rules enough or show you the rules enough.
Yeah.
But
it's really hard for me to watch actual play, because like I'll watch them and then it's like, you guys are doing it wrong. Like and I don't know. Like it's hard to find a group of people where I actually enjoy watching them play.
I mean, my suggestion would be...
Sometimes I'm just...
Yeah. I mean, my suggestion would be find a group, whether it's at your local gaming store or at a convention, and play a game that sounds interesting and learn it that way. Or find your local neighborhood nerd, there we go, and have him teach it to you. You all can't be as lucky as I am to be married to a nerd who can explain all the games to you. But you know what? Nerds love to talk about the things that they're passionate about. So if you want to know more about a system, go to your gaming store and be like, hey, have you played this system? Do you have someone who could help me learn the rules? Because guess what? Nerds like to talk about nerdy shit. So
yeah,
you probably could find somebody who would teach you the rules.
They'll teach it to you.
Or you could just email Kurt and he'll teach you.
Hell, yeah, email the show. Tell us to, hey, email me. I want to learn this game. I will stream that shit. I will just teach you the game. You just email me. No, I probably will, actually.
He's sitting here going, I wouldn't actually do. He would actually do that.
I think I would do that. And especially if it's a game I don't know, because then I can learn it. It's the best part. Yeah. Yeah, I mean... And try to find cons. I know if not everyone has them where they live, but if you are in a place where cons exist, it can be a daunting experience to go out there with other humans. But if a lot of a lot of cons have become way more inclusive and way more welcoming, especially to marginalized groups. So if you were not going to cons because you felt like maybe you weren't represented there or not welcome there, there's a lot of cons that are making huge efforts to make sure that you're welcome. So check it out. Go to a con. Play weird games that you've never heard of. It'll be a good time.
That's how we discovered 10 Candles, and that's how we discovered Savage Worlds, and I mean GURPS, and
if we had never gone to a convention, we'd still be playing 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Like it.
Yep.
I never would have found any of that stuff. So.
Yeah, because when we first started playing, all we played was Dungeons and Dragons, and then Kurt and I went to our first Strategicon and came back with like, guys, there's these other systems, and let's do it.
You don't understand.
There's more out there, guys. It was awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, none of them have any rules. They're all so small and boring.
I don't know. Savage Worlds probably has about the most amount of rules that it's my sweet spot, right? It has enough rules where I feel like there's options, but not so many rules where I have to spend 3.5 days making a character.
There's options for the first 70 XP. Once you get up to legendary, it's kind of like, man, I'm just going to get a 12 plus 2.
I don't know, because Isabel is like at 150 XP, and I still have a ton of stuff I want to take to make her more badass. Even though she can stop time and like kick ass and stuff, there's more shit that I want to give her. And if anything, Stormageddon, the actual tiger, not the one that Erastes played in our game 2 weeks ago.
The actual tiger, like the literal tiger that we have at our house?
Well, no, the inspiration for... Yes, our literal tiger.
Yeah.
We
live in a zoo.
He needs leveling up too, and I have to spend my XP on him, so I mean...
Yeah. That's what you need to do, is just start getting sidekicks.
It's at the point now where... Yeah. Well, Cicero is learning shit like writing and lancing, so I could become a knight when I take over the kingdom and be the duke or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what's this weird random profession edge? Knight? Sure, let's go with that. What are the prereqs for that? Stuff I've never taken? Okay, why not? 12 games. Hey guys, I got a D4 in writing now. Sweet.
Here's the important question though. Do you have swimming?
No.
I should have drowned you guys.
Or boating.
Should have drowned you guys the first game.
Hey, you tried. You tried to attack us with a kraken, and we survived with only one of the people in our party swimming. I kept sticking you guys in the water,
hoping you would drown, but it didn't work.
I knew he was trying to kill us.
If you don't take swimming, you deserve to drown. I'm sorry.
All right.
No matter how much swimming you have in full plate, though.
Yeah. If a game has swimming, take fucking swimming, or don't get in the water.
All right. Well, if you want to know any more information about learning game systems, or want us to cover any specific systems, and you want the rest of the cast to not be on there and just listen to Kurt ramble for an hour about the rules of any system, you should totally email us and say, hey, Kurt, you should teach us how to play whatever.
Maybe I'll teach the cast how to play said game.
Hey, Kurt, you should teach us how to play Exalted.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Have fun.
All right. Well, the update, since he's not here, Handor should be back on stream either next weekend or the following weekend at the very latest. Mm-hmm. We got the update today that his liver and his kidneys. Put together
a computer.
Well, his liver and his kidneys have been sewn back into his body, and he's almost ready for relaunch into the real world again.
If you take out that drainage bag and his catheter, he'll be good to go.
Yeah.
If you do want to contact the show, you can do that. We have an email, pixelscandal@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on Twitter, @pixelscandal on Twitter. We also have an Instagram, if that's more your speed. You can send us messages on there. I'll get them. That's Pixelscandal on Instagram. And if you just want more information about the cast or the show, you can go to pixelscandal.com.
thanks for watching.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.